Bienvenidos! Welcome everybody, and buenos tardes. This is our talk about the physical ways to prepare yourself for a move to Cuenca, Ecuador.
Indeed. Typically, we think of maybe you've read a lot about the altitude and how to acclimate. Maybe you've read about some supplements and things like that. And that's all fine and good. You can totally do those things. We just wanted to share 3 rather simple things you can do to prepare yourself for not only life in Cuenca, but life in altitude, because we are at 8,200 square feet.
Square feet?
That's not right. We are at 8,200 feet above sea level here, and that does take some getting used to. So the first thing I'd like to share with you is all about your breath. And so when I say, it's important to breathe, you would probably say, well, duh, of course I'm breathing, I'm alive, right? And in my 13 years of chiropractic practice, I realized that most of us are breathing just barely enough to stay alive.
Quite shallow, definitely not full breath.
And at the first sign of stress, what happens in your nervous system is you start to shorten your breath. And you really start to focus on using accessory muscles of breathing, and that means your shoulders come up, you're only using the top part of your lungs. And this is applicable to life in Cuenca, and it's also a good way to protect yourself from that little respiratory thing that's been going around for the last couple of years that we shall not name.
Yep.
So just one thing to get you started, you can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. I don't know if you can see that or not. And you can practice breathing and only let the hand on your stomach move. So you breathe in and out. In and out. And try to keep your chest still. So you're really using your diaphragm and you're not using those accessory muscles of breathing. This will help prepare you. It'll give you better lung capacity when you get here for the altitude, and it will also help you stay healthier.
And a tip is to fully exhale. Really try to push out all that air and empty your lungs, and that forces you to bring in a full breath too.
This is something we had looked at, before coming here, but even after. I know you did some of the Wim Hof stuff and some exercises, and
Yep.
As soon as he started doing those things, it made a big difference. Like normally I'm the faster walker and I'm kind of waiting on him, and after he started doing that, it was like, oh, what's going on? I got to catch up.
And there's different breathing exercises that people do, but his thing is about like filling your lungs and really getting some reps in for your breath work, and it does make a difference.
Right.
Anything to exercise your lungs, is going to help.
Que bueno. Claro.
Claro.
Okay, the second thing that we recommend doing is increasing your water intake now. I know for some reason that seems to be a big point of resistance for a lot of people. I guess it's because,
Everybody has to pee.
Yeah, and when you're in, 9-to-5 jobs or the such, you might not always be able to use the facilities whenever the fullness of your bladder strikes. But it is so important, and it goes along with the breath, because you end up expiring a lot more water here because it's harder to breathe than you do otherwise. So a good recommendation is generally half your body weight in ounces, and I would say it's going to be even more so here. So if you can get in the habit of drinking more water while you're still in the States or wherever you're coming from, that's going to help you a lot, and that healthy habit will already be in place when you get here.
Yep.
And the first sign of dehydration is headache. So if you're having mild headaches there, that's just going to get worse here, and that is a sign of issues with altitude, having headaches. So I know I still struggle to really push myself to get that amount of water in, but really I'm getting between 2 and 2.5 liters in every day. And I can tell when I slack on that because I do get a little bit of a headache.
And it helps too to drink some water right when you get up. Start your system up. And remember that water is not a second-class beverage. It is your friend.
Oh, the amigos. And just to touch on that resistance, people will say, well, the research says, well, the only experiment that really matters is yours. So if you start drinking more water now, you can really notice how you feel. And then you can be like, oh, wow, I do feel better when I drink more water. because it's all about having those healthy habits in place before you get here. Number 3 is all about the physical fitness. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As you embark on this adventure to South America, chances are you are going to walk more
than you ever
than
have.
maybe in the last 5 years. Taking taxis and the bus and you do public transportation, like just walking around Centro, there are so many stores and shops and streets. You're going to want to walk up and down all of those. So it's better to have that kind of fitness, a baseline of fitness in place. Like for me, before we came here, I was playing tennis 3 times a week. I was doing yoga. I was walking the dog every day. And my body was still not prepared to walk 6 to 8 miles a day. I ended up having problems with my feet. I wasn't stretching after I did all the walking because my brain was like, well, you just walked. So it's like, you don't need to stretch after you walk. Oh, well, after 40, you kind of do. Walking is physical exercise after 40.
Or any number. We're not judging any age.
Yes. Maybe 30. You get away with a lot more before I turn 30
if you're
than
30,
now.
nobody cares. So.
And I'm not saying you're necessarily going to walk 6 to 8 miles every day like we did, because that was a lot. Now we have the e-bikes, we're more at 4 to 6 miles, and that seems a little bit more manageable. But outside of just being able to walk and get around, like work on your mobility. If you have physical limitations or issues that maybe you've been working too much or you've been busy raising kids and doing all these things and now you're looking at retirement, like start thinking about getting those things resolved now. There are 2 programs out there I really recommend, and I'm not affiliated with these people, but if you do want to sponsor a video, you just let us know.
We have no affiliations, but
but we're open, we're looking.
We're not judging.
Checking the market.
Yeah.
The first one is Kaisa Fit. She does phenomenal programs on mobility, and you can buy packages and bundles, and I will put a link to her in the description. She has like advanced stuff, but she also has a very beginner start programs. And then there's a 6-hour program from the Foot Collective that really talks about biomechanics, how your feet work, and how most foot and knee issues are actually originating in your hips, because not only do we not breathe properly, we don't always walk properly, we use a lot of hip flexor, and we leave our poor glutes out of the equation altogether. And it's for lay people. So it's in very easy to understand terminology, and you'll get a lot of benefit out of those 2 things if you start looking at them now, because we've heard lots of stories of people, stepping off a curb onto cobblestone streets, breaking their ankle. Falls are very common here. We are going to do a separate video on like street safety in terms of, how to make sure you stay upright.
Stay vertical.
And don't fall down, because that's bad. And that's going to make, that's definitely going to put a damper on your experience if you're in a boot or cast.
Right. And all this just adds to your, this is a change of lifestyle. This is a change of geography. There's a lot of changes going on. And being able to navigate these things easier makes it that much more enjoyable here too. And it just gives you a better lifestyle for sure.
So it's for your health and for your experience.
It's a win-win.
Win-win-win.
Yep.
All right, so those are our 3 top tips for physical preparation for your move. We're going to do a second part that's all about how to mentally prepare, and then a third part on emotional and spiritual preparation.
CC, oui, oui.
So we'll catch you on the next one. Flynn's
Ciao, ciao.
out. Okay, I guess you went early, I went late.